like I mentioned at the beginning of Mass today in the Diocese of Austin is called by name Sunday, and so I get to share with you a little bit about the beauty of the religious life and the priesthood. I often wish I could put into words the beauty of what it is to be a priest. The thrilling experience of hearing Jesus say to you in a personal way, like he said to Simon and Andrew, "Come after me, and I will make you fishers of men." To answer the call and to work alongside Jesus in this very particular way has been, for me, such a worthwhile adventure. I often say to you that we're all invited to have intimacy with Jesus, and this is so important because every person is invited to have great intimacy with Jesus. You are invited to have great intimacy, a great friendship with the Lord. This is not only for religious sisters and for priests, but there is something unique. There is something unique about the intimacy to which he calls his religious sisters and his priests. A particular kind of friendship. And it is quite a gift. Like I said, it's hard for me to put into words what it is to be a priest and some of the beauty of it, but let me share with you just a simple story that maybe can allow you to see just a little glimpse of the inner life of a priest, of what happens in his heart. Some time ago, I learned that there was this gentleman whose health was quickly deteriorating, and the family really wanted me to go visit this gentleman because he was probably going to die, and also because so they were telling me he hadn't lived the greatest life and hadn't been to confession in decades. But apparently he was hoping for me to visit, and so I went. And it was this very holy moment. I was there at the bedside of this man, hearing his confession. I can see and hear his family, not too far away from me. I can see them and hear them weeping as they're praying the rosary. And they're weeping not because their loved one may die, but because they have been praying for decades. This man whom they love be reconciled with God. And they're getting to see, finally, after praying for so many years, their prayer being answered. There I am, thinking to myself, in this kind of holy ground, where am I? What is happening? How is it that I get to be this instrument of an answered prayer, a prayer that's been going on for decades? Standing in this holy ground, right? Really a moment that I revere, and it's almost like putting words into it cheapens it, almost as if this shouldn't really be talked about because it must just be revered in silence. Experiences of this sort are not uncommon for a priest. They are part of his life, and then they make our life very beautiful. Now, let me tell you something. When you see me as a priest, and that's a good thing because I am indeed a priest. But I'm always surprised by how shocked people are when they see me out of the context of me doing quote-unquote priestly things. Here in the parish during the summers, we have a sports for the teens in the parish, and so we play volleyball over here on Wednesday evenings in the field we have there. And so I go join the teens to play some volleyball. And so what do I wear? Well, I wear what anybody would wear to play volleyball. I wear shorts and t-shirt, tennis shoes, a hat, because I'm going to play volleyball. So I show up there and people are like, "Wow, Father, you're wearing shorts." And, I obviously get it because people don't see me dressed like that often. So they're a little bit shocked. That makes sense. But it's almost like that underneath that expression, there's this sense of saying, "Dang, Father, I guess you are a human being after all, huh?" And I'm like, yeah, I am a human being. I am a priest, 100%. And I am a priest. But in another sense, I am just a dude. Just a dude. A dude that loves Jesus deeply? Absolutely. That wants to conquer souls for Christ? Yes. In the end, nothing matters in this life but heaven. A dude that is a priest and thus has authority? Yes, of course I do. At the same time, I'm just a regular guy. Just like Simon and Andrew were just normal guys who used to do fishing for a living. And then, of course, they were called by Jesus, right? To become fishers of men. And they answered the call. Normal men called to a lofty vocation. But they never stopped being normal guys. Priests don't grow on trees. Right? Same with religious sisters. They don't fall from the sky. They come from families. Normal families like your family. From regular gals and regular men. It's very likely that God may be calling you or someone from your family to become a religious sister or a priest. I grew up in a regular family. Grew up camping, doing a lot of hiking, loving to dance. In fact, I was even part of a breakdancing crew there for a little bit. Which maybe is not actually very normal, but the point is, I didn't grow up having mystical experiences from when I was 4. I was just a kid. And then I was just a teenager and I did many things that I shouldn't have done. But through all that, I also began to become friends with Jesus. And then he invited me to be his priest. And I said yes. And now, as the regular guy that I am, I get to be invited into this very mysterious and beautiful life. A life that is at the crux of the salvation of souls. At the veil between heaven and earth, at the heart of the eternal destiny of people. Who wouldn't want to be called to such a beautiful life? What a gift. What a gift. And I get it, it is a very particular vocation and not everyone is called to it. So I'm not saying here that anybody who's not married yet, that you should become a priest or a religious sister. Not at all. Many of you are called to the beautiful vocation of marriage, right? Another beautiful vocation that is also hard, right? All vocations, right? Whether one is called to the single life, to the religious life, to the priesthood, to marriage, right? They're all beautiful vocations and they're all hard. What I'm saying is, why are we so scared of the possibility of being called to the priesthood or the religious life? What a gift. People often tell me, Father, I can't believe the sacrifices that you've made to be a priest, and you don't have as much money as you would have if you had continued with your software developer career, and you don't have your own family, etc. And yeah, 100%, I've made some sacrifices. But every vocation demands sacrifice. Love demands sacrifice. If you're married, and especially if you're a parent, if you are a parent, have you not made sacrifices? Heck yeah, you have. But when you give your life to Christ, in whatever your vocation is, do we not receive 100-fold in return? Yes, we do. So I don't feel like I've lost anything in the sacrifices I have made. Quite the contrary, I've gained everything. So much so that most of the time I don't even feel like I've made a sacrifice. If we let Christ into our lives, we lose nothing. We lose absolutely nothing of what makes life beautiful and great and free. There is no reason for us to be afraid of Christ and the possibility of a vocation to the priesthood or the religious life. He takes nothing away, and he gives everything. Might the Lord be inviting you to consider being a religious sister? Might the Lord be inviting you to consider being a priest? It's possible. It is very possible. And if so, there is really no reason to be afraid because He loves you, right? And He's got you. At the same time, nobody should walk this walk of discernment of hearing God's voice by themselves. So, no, if this is something that's in your heart and you want somebody to walk with you, know that I would be super happy to listen to your story and try to listen to God's voice with you, right? We're not supposed to do this alone. Now, I want to add a quick note for parents. This is for parents. So, I've been learning more and more that many parents fall into the following attitude. Oh yeah, it'd be awesome to have more religious sisters. It'd be awesome to have more priests. We definitely need them. Yeah. I wonder if there's a family here somewhere whose child could have a vocation. I mean, I wouldn't like one of my kids to become a priest or a religious sister, but it'd be awesome if we could have some more. What a beautiful thing for somebody else's child, right? See where I'm going with this, right? If you're honest with yourself, where is your heart in this matter? Would you be open? Would you be open to invite your children to consider God's will for their lives? Not to try to convince them to be priests or religious. No, that's not how that works. It's God who calls, so it's not about you convincing them of anything. But just to be open to whatever God wants for them. If the answer is that you are not very comfortable with this possibility, I invite you to ask yourself, why? Why wouldn't you be comfortable with the Lord calling your child to such a vocation? Regardless of the answer, because I think there can be some legitimate fears and some uncomfortability or something challenging about it, so that's fine. Regardless of the answer, would you still be open to invite your children to consider God's will for their lives? And would you support them in such an endeavor to whatever it is God may be calling them, whether it's marriage or being a religious sister or a priest? Would you support them in such an endeavor? It's actually a little bit fascinating to me how many times, this happened to me multiple times, I kind of have lost count how many times, somebody approaches me, somebody who's already been married for a while now, and they'll tell me something like, Father, when I was younger, I really wanted to be a religious sister. Or they're a guy, they say a priest. But my parents were adamantly opposed to it. So after a bit, I just gave up, and eventually I ended up getting married. But I often do wonder if I should have pushed harder, if that was indeed my vocation. I've heard this multiple times. Isn't that crazy? They were discouraged by their own parents who were supposed to draw them to the Lord. They were discouraged by their own parents to be open to God's call. What a serious matter. What a serious thing. Like I said earlier, if we let Christ into our lives, we lose nothing. Absolutely nothing of what makes life beautiful. There is no reason for us to be afraid of Christ and the possibility of a vocation to the priesthood or the religious life, whether it's for ourselves or for our children. The Lord takes nothing away, and He gives everything.